Well, Rich Curl from Quikrete is joining us on this home improvement project. And Rich, 15-year-old home, we've got the stoop outside the entry door. The whole thing has settled. And this is fairly common. What's causing this?
The ground is actually settling underneath, and the weight of the slab is causing the ground to push down even further.
So this slab's not even tied into the house at all.
It doesn't look like it was at the beginning.
All right, I'll show you how much it's actually settled. If you take a look here, we got a downspout going into the ground, and it's not even lined up. Now, we have a pretty good-sized gap between the stoop and the foundation of the house. And this gap, if we don't repair this, what could happen?
Well, there's a lot of things that could happen. Mostly water would get down in between the slab and the house and could cause some problems, maybe even go down into the basement with some water.
All right, so our project is started by removal of the caulk.
You have to get the caulk out completely before we put the new caulk in.
And that can be done relatively easy. You got the tools to do it.
Nice sharp instrument and a brush and some other things you're going to need to clean it off really well.
Okay. Now, as we open up the crevice where this is actually settled away from the foundation, I assume we're just not going to pour caulking in there.
That would be cost prohibitive.
Yeah, so how are we going to fill that?
What we're going to do is we're going to use one of Quikrete products called Baccarod.
Okay.
It's about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, and it's about 20 foot long. And if it's a little bit bigger than 3/4 of an inch, we'll just double up.
Okay, so we're pushing that in with a tool.
With a tool.
Get it how far below the surface?
You want to get it at least 1/2 of an inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch below the surface, then we can put a nice bead on there.
Okay, now we're going to put a bead of caulking. We're not patching this with cement.
That's right.
Because that's brittle. That'll just crack again. What type of caulking are we going to use here?
Today we're going to use Quikrete polyurethane mortar joint sealant.
Okay, and tell me a little bit about the caulking. What type of base is that? Is that a urethane base?
Well, it is a urethane base. It costs a little bit more than a latex base, which wouldn't work very well in this circumstance. It's going to give you a couple of years of longevity.
Now, I notice it's got a little texture to it, so it's kind of authentic looking, if you will.
It's going to look like the mortar joints, or it'd be a close match to what is on the brick already.
I see a lot of people make mistakes by just using a latex caulking. That only lasts 6 months to a year, right?
Just one freeze-thaw cycle.
And yet the urethane's going to stretch and do a pretty good job.
I'll give them a couple more years of length.
Now, I got a smaller crack over here. Do I need to widen this particular crack to patch it?
In this particular instance, it's probably not a good idea to widen the crack. We can also use a polyurethane concrete crack sealant from Quikrete there as well.
Okay, and how would that be applied then?
We're going to use a caulk gun on that as well.
Okay, and that will level, or we got to rub it in with our finger?
We might have to rub it in a little bit. For the most part, it'll level itself.
Now, that smaller crack, if I didn't pay any attention to that, what would happen? Would that also get worse?
Always. Concrete always gets worse. It never gets better.
Right, okay. Well, Rich, this turned out looking really nice, and again, that's going to last 3-4 years, and we'll probably have to come back and take it out again. But the key, I assume, is just the urethane. That's the whole key in getting it nice and clean.
Yes.
All right, thank you much.
Thank you.
Great job.